Welcome, everybody, to the Swiss Army Man podcast, episode 5. And I'm doing this one as a audio-only podcast. Obviously, the video will be up on YouTube. It'll just be a static video. But figured I would come to you guys, talk to you a little bit about what's been going on and some of the stuff that I've seen around the internet and all that fun stuff. So, to get started, I guess I'll reference a tweet I made the other day about trying to make a audio podcast while driving home the other day. It was pouring down rain and absolutely terrible. I'm doing another one while driving here, hoping this one will work as it is very sunny outside and not a rain cloud in sight. So hopefully we can make this thing work. You might hear some noises or whatever, but no big deal. So it is Saturday and it is college football Saturday, obviously a ton of big games. I am just headed back from work, but I did notice that there was a massive upset between Illinois and Wisconsin. I have a friend from the internet, Mr. Vanilla Gorilla, who was very upset about this Wisconsin loss and losing on a last-second field goal. Gotta absolutely love college football for the randomness of teams that can beat you on any given day. It's probably the only sport, and I guess like all of college sports, but specifically it seems like football, where like a team that should probably definitely not win or like even plays close against a team that's like ridiculously good. And I think some of it probably has to do with the academics and all that stuff. Obviously you're in studying and all that stuff is like being a scholar, and which is why you're at college, and then obviously all the practice and stuff like that, and then travel, and just being young and immature and not knowing how to maybe necessarily even handle like the pressures of certain situations. Definitely all come into play, but I would say college football is exciting for that same reason. You just never know what could happen on any given Saturday. So having teams that play other teams close, so like an Appalachian State over Michigan when they won a couple of years ago and stuff like that, are very interesting and devastating a lot for a lot of these teams, because like Wisconsin is a pretty high-ranked team, and this one loss could end up changing the course of their season. Even if they win out and they beat every team that they need to play, it still could end up, costing them chance at like a title or whatever, if they made it that far. So always those kind of interesting things. Just really, really funny. I guess like maybe it's, teams play up against teams that are higher in caliber. It's like a big game for probably Illinois to play Wisconsin, whereas Wisconsin's like, yeah, it's Illinois, we should beat them. I'm sure that some of that is the mindset. It's one of those things where like when you have so many programs that play the sport, you have such a vast difference. So if you think of the NFL, where you have, your 32 teams, and then you have, those are the top of the top of the top of the top. All of the talent on every single roster is pretty much the best of the best. Whereas college, you're going to have kids that are playing for a college that no one's ever heard of, that's going to be for sure selling insurance for his dad's insurance company in a year, and he's going to be on the field with, Trevor Lawrence and Clemson, you know what I mean? Like, so there's a difference in Trevor Lawrence is clearly going to go to the NFL and probably play there for a number of years. So you have those two different sets of teams that are playing on the field together, and when that happens, you just never know. I mean, that's going to be that dude's claim to fame. Whoever the Illinois kicker is, he's going to be like, sweet, we took down this team. That might be the biggest moment in his career. So pretty cool to see those things. Sucks for the Wisconsin fans, but definitely like to hear and see those cool little upsets happen in college football and stuff like that. So the other I want to do a listener's question, which I kind of talked about already on Twitter if you followed, but Brent J. Powell, at Brent J. Powell, posted this thing that said, it's like you could have $3 billion, but you could never drink or never buy liquor again. Thought that was an interesting one. Not because of necessarily things, because I think anybody would take the $3 billion and not buy liquor again. But those kind of questions always like, I try to figure out like what the number is that it would actually be a question. Like, be like, is it like $10,000? Is it $100,000? Is it $15,000? Is it $150,000? Is it $1 million? Is it $1 billion? How much would it take for you to never buy liquor again? So, for me, I do like to drink. I do enjoy, a glass of wine, a shot of liquor, a couple cold beers. I enjoy all of it. So for me to never buy liquor again, probably be somewhere in the like $200,000 range. I'll say $200,000. You give me $200,000 and I could never buy liquor for the rest of my life, then that would probably be my number, 200,000. That's enough for, me to probably have zero bills, including like car payment, house payment, all that kind of stuff. So 200,000 would be an interesting number to get to never have some liquor again. What would be your number? Comment in the comments below, or if you're on Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter at Swiss Army Man Pod or Patch of Black DFS, make a comment at me. Tell me how much would be your number to make it viable for you to where it would be a question. You'd have to really think hard. Other than that, I saw this really interesting trending tag on Twitter, and it was things not to buy pre-owned. Sorry, things not to buy pre-owned was the hashtag. And I immediately started laughing. I thought it was hilarious because that kind of stuff should be pretty easy. But I decided that since I haven't done a top 5 in a little bit, I was going to do a top 5 on those. So I made a quick list of the top 5 things. Number 5 would be a coffin. Definitely don't want a pre-owned coffin. The reason I say this is a couple of reasons. One, that means it's been used by another dead person, and what happened to that dead person, I don't want to know. Don't need to know. But also because of, if you listen to the Pat McAfee show, you'll understand that Viva Lazito over there wanted a coffin to reenact the Undertaker gif, and that's what I thought about was like that might have been a pre-owned coffin. So thought that would be hilarious, and definitely not something you would ever want to get pre-owned. So other than that, next on the list would be condoms. Obviously you don't want a pre-owned condom. That means that condom has been used by someone else, and 1, isn't going to be effective, let's be honest. 2, don't want to go there with that. And 3, there's probably some stuff in there that you don't want to deal with. So condoms would be on that list. Number 3, toothbrush. Don't ever want anybody's toothbrush. Don't ever want a pre-used toothbrush. I'm sure if you're married or like have had a serious relationship, at some point you've been in the situation where you had the option, because you forgot your toothbrush or whatever, to use someone else's toothbrush that you were closely in a relationship with. Still never feels great. And not something that is the ideal situation. So no toothbrushes on the pre-owned list. Number 2, I think about this often because of I love to go to thrift stores. I don't know, it's a guilty pleasure of mine. I know a lot of people who flip stuff they find at the thrift store and sell it for quite a profit. And they spend a lot of time looking through almost every section in the thrift store. The one section that I would never look in, no matter what, is the used underwear store part of the store. Yep. Yeah, go to Goodwill. There's a section of the store that has underwear. Yep. Never, ever, 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 ever shop in that section. I don't know who buys their underwear from the Goodwill. That's nasty, though. I'm sorry. I can't have pre-owned underwear. Can't. That thing's got to be fresh out of the bag. Popping those things, bam, got me a fresh new pair of whoever. Whatever your favorite underwear is. That can't happen. You can't have pre-owned underwear. I mean, even if it's like the nicest underwear, I can't imagine anyone having pre-owned underwear. That seems like not the way to go. Also, not to the same extent, but if there was like a number 6 on this list, you'd probably say socks. I don't know if anybody would want to share some pre-owned socks. I mean, that seems like a little weird too. But last but not least, I think the obvious one is I don't think anybody would ever want to buy a pre-owned sex toy. Guys or girls, whether that's the fleshlight or whether that's a vibrator, whatever the heck you want to go with, don't think anybody is ever going to buy some pre-owned sex toys. That just seems a little weird. Seems like something that you wouldn't want to do. Seems like something that could potentially be unsafe depending on how clean the person was. And you really got to question it if they're selling you these things pre-owned on their weirdness, and also question yourself if you're even thinking about buying them. So those would be my top 5 list of things never to buy pre-owned. Things not to buy pre-owned. So if you have any that I missed or you think I missed, definitely comment below or on Twitter or whatever. Those are the 5 that I came up with real quick. Other than that, gonna cut this one a little short, and looking forward to NFL games tomorrow. Looking forward to the Lions getting back on the horse and hopefully not getting having some weird stuff happen in another game. Like has been the story of my entire life forever, watching the Lions. And hopefully we can get this back on track and show everyone that we're the great team that we are. So, and if your team is playing tomorrow, which I think there's like 4 teams on by, most people's team should be playing. Best of luck to them, unless they're Vikings, and then they can have a good game some other time, not against the Lions. So, all right, guys, I'll see you guys next time. This has been episode number 5 of the Swiss Army Man podcast, and I'll see you next time.